Imagine losing out on nearly $1 million, simply because you didn't know what was hiding inside an old jar of pennies in your home. Sounds impossible, right? Yet across the country, people are discovering treasures as small as a penny but worth more than luxury cars, dream vacations, and in some cases, entire homes. And today we're talking about one of the most surprising of them all. The 1951 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that most people overlook, yet rare examples have sold for life-changing amounts, with the highest known value reaching an extraordinary $951,000. Yes, a single cent. Almost worth $1 million or so before you toss that old change jar aside, or before someone else claims the treasure you didn't even know you had. Listen closely, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this coin so valuable, how to tell if you're holding something extraordinary, and what steps you must take right now if you want to turn a forgotten penny into real, tangible wealth. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming toward the end. The story begins in the early 1950s, a time when America was shifting, rebuilding, and dreaming bigger than ever. Families were buying homes, highways were being built, and the country was stepping into a new era of ambition and prosperity. But in the middle of all that progress, something interesting happened at the U.S. Mint. Something unplanned, something unexpected, and something that would one day create one of the rarest and most valuable pennies in American history. In 1951, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 284 million pennies. On paper, that doesn't sound rare at all. In fact, it sounds downright common. But the true value of this coin doesn't come from how many were made. It comes from how few survived in pristine, untouched, nearly perfect condition. Most of these pennies entered circulation immediately, tossed in pockets, scraped against metal, dropped into vending machines, and rattled around inside drawers. But a microscopic number, just a handful, escaped that fate. Some were accidentally struck with remarkable precision. Some were preserved by collectors who had no idea they were protecting a future gold mine. And one or two were simply lucky enough to survive untouched for more than 70 years. These are the coins that changed everything. Now, you might be thinking, how does a simple, common penny transform into a near $1 million treasure? How does something most people ignore suddenly become the key to wealth, opportunity, and financial freedom? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, condition, minting anomalies, and the intense hunger of collectors competing to own the best of the best. You see, collectors aren't just buying a coin. They're buying history, perfection, and bragging rights. They want the absolute finest example that exists, and they're willing to bid against each other, sometimes aggressively, to get it. That's where prices skyrocket. Suddenly, a penny you could have walked past on the floor becomes a luxury asset. And if you're lucky enough to find one of these gems, the market will pay you not hundreds, not thousands, but hundreds of thousands of dollars. But here's where most people make a costly mistake. They assume that because the coin is old, it must be valuable. And while age helps, the truth is far more nuanced. What separates a $951,000 penny from a 5-cent penny isn't just time. It's the details most people never pay attention to. The surface, the shine, the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, the clarity of the date, the absence of scratches, even the strength of the strike itself. A single flaw can drop the value dramatically. But when everything aligns perfectly, when the universe quietly conspires to protect a coin from the world around it, that's when magic happens. And this is the moment where things get exciting, because right now, sitting somewhere in someone's attic, buried in a coffee can, trapped inside a dusty drawer or tucked into an old forgotten box, is another one of these nearly perfect 1951 pennies. Another life-changing discovery. Another chance at wealth. The question is, will you be the one to find it? Before we go deeper, let's be honest. How many times have you heard stories like this and thought, that'll never be me? How many times have you brushed off old coins, assuming they're worthless? How many times have you handed a cashier a penny without even looking at it? It's okay, we've all done it. But after today, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. And here's where the story takes a sharp turn. The 1951 penny has earned its legendary status not because of how many were minted, but because of how few remain untouched. And when one does show up, collectors go wild. Auctions heat up, bidders compete, and prices rise fast. In fact, the record sale of $951,000 wasn't a fluke. It was the result of years of pent-up demand, expert grading, and collectors who refused to lose the chance to own perfection. This is where fear creeps in, not the fear of danger, but the fear of missing out. The fear of looking back and realizing you had something valuable right in your hand, and you let it go. Imagine finding out that the penny you spent last week could have changed your life. That kind of regret stings, and it happens far more often than you'd believe. But the good news is you're here now, you're learning now, and knowledge is the difference between missing out and leveling up. So let's break down what you should look for. When you pick up a 1951 penny with no mint mark, examine the luster. Does it shine like fresh copper despite being more than 70 years old? Are the details crisp, the lines in Lincoln's coat, the wheat stalks on the reverse, the lettering, the rim? Does it appear untouched, almost like it traveled through time without aging? If so, congratulations, you may already be holding something rare. Next, pay attention to color. High-grade examples have either a brilliant red appearance or a red-brown shine. These are the coins collectors obsess over. These are the ones that sell for serious money. And if yours still has that luminous glow, you're already ahead. Then, look for errors. Misstrikes, double dies, off-center strikes. These can elevate the price even higher. Some errors are so subtle you'll need a jeweler's loupe to catch them. Others are obvious the moment you look. And error collectors, they pay extremely well. But here's the twist. Even if you think your coin is perfect, the real value is determined by professional grading. Only a recognized grading service can certify your coin's true condition. And once it has that certification, that's when the real money appears. That's when collectors start circling like hawks. That's when your ordinary penny becomes a luxury asset. And if you're wondering whether the market is still strong for 1951 pennies, let me put your mind at ease. The demand has never been higher. As more people hunt for rare coins, fewer perfect examples are left unclaimed. That means prices rise, opportunities shrink, and those who act now, who check their collections now, who get their coins graded now, stand to gain the most. But here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. The highest known sale of this coin, over $950,000, wasn't predicted. No expert saw it coming. No collector expected it to reach that level. It shocked the entire market, which means there is absolutely nothing stopping the next perfect example from breaking that record again. And who knows, your coin might be the one that does it. Imagine the impact of that moment. Imagine holding in your hand something that could eliminate debt, open new doors, fund your dream lifestyle, or give you the financial freedom you've always wanted. Imagine turning a single penny into generational wealth. That's not fantasy. That is the world of rare coins. So before you go, make yourself a promise. Search your old jars, drawers, and boxes. Check every old collection you've inherited. Look at every penny you come across, because you never know which one could be the key to a different life, a wealthier life, a more secure future. The 1951 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is out there, waiting for someone bold enough, curious enough, and smart enough to recognize its true value. The only question left is simple. Will that person be you? Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of pennies you haven't touched in years, and discovering that one of those ordinary-looking coins could change the rest of your life. Hard to believe, right? Yet people across the country are doing exactly that. Among the most shocking discoveries is a humble little coin from 1968. A coin with no mint mark. A coin that, if you're lucky enough to find the right variety and the right condition, could be worth up to millions of dollars, with one example recently valued at an unbelievable $968,000. Yes, almost $1 million for a single cent. And if that doesn't get your heart beating just a little faster, check your pulse. For decades, the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has been hiding in plain sight, spending years in pockets, drawers, and forgotten coffee cans. It's one of those coins people assume is ordinary because they've seen it their entire lives. But the smart collectors, the ones who truly understand the power of rarity, know that opportunities like this appear once in a lifetime. And the truth is, right now, the market for rare pennies has never been hotter. With collectors fighting over high-grade examples and unique minting errors, even the most unsuspecting coin can turn into a life-changing asset. The question is, will you recognize it before someone else does? The excitement around the 1968 no-mint mark penny didn't happen overnight. It started as whispers among collectors, then rumors, then confirmed discoveries of rare error strikes and premium-grade specimens selling for jaw-dropping amounts. And here's the twist. The U.S. Mint never intended these pennies to become rare. They were mass-produced, everyday-use coins, born in the middle of a turbulent decade defined by change, conflict, and hope for a better future. Maybe that energy got trapped in the metal, who knows? But it's one of the reasons these coins now hold symbolic value beyond what you can measure on a price chart. But why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for a penny? The answer lies in a combination of beauty, history, and ultra-rare minting traits that only a tiny fraction of 1968 coins possess. When a coin has sharp details, perfect luster, untouched surfaces, and specific errors such as doubled dies or striking anomalies, collectors enter an entirely different arena of competition. Suddenly, the price doesn't follow logic, it follows desire, prestige, legacy. And in a world where wealthy collectors are chasing bragging rights, the right penny becomes a status symbol, a trophy, a once-in-a-generation find. Have you ever seen adults fight over a copper coin like kids fighting over the last slice of pizza? You would if you visited a high-stakes coin auction. Yet beneath the excitement lies something even more powerful: fear. The fear of missing out, the fear of selling too early, the fear of overlooking a rare coin sitting right under your nose. And fear has driven countless people to finally check their old jars, pocketbooks, and inherited collections. Because nobody wants to be the person who casually spent $1 million penny on a cup of coffee. And yes, it has happened before with other coins. Painful, isn't it? But that pain is also motivation. As more people look deeper into their collections, an entirely new wave of discoveries has started appearing. Some show dramatic doubling on the lettering. Some reveal subtle shifts in the die alignment that only trained eyes notice. Some are in astonishing condition because they sat untouched for decades. And every single time one of these hits the auction block, collectors hold their breath. Prices rise, expectations rise, and ordinary Americans watch stories unfold of people transforming a forgotten penny into generational wealth. Now imagine this for a moment. What if your home already holds that opportunity? What if somewhere between the couch cushions, the glove compartment, or the bottom of a dusty old box sits a coin worth more than a luxury car? More than your mortgage balance? More than some people earn in years? The possibility isn't just inspiring, it's empowering. People say wealth is out of reach, yet sometimes it's sitting quietly in the palm of your hand. When examining a 1968 penny, the first thing collectors check is the mint mark or the lack of it. A missing mint mark on a Philadelphia coin is normal, but not all no-mint mark pennies are equal. What separates a penny worth 1 cent from a penny worth $968,000 is condition, rarity, and its unique traits. High-grade examples with full original luster, sharp details in Lincoln's hair, and clean surfaces can skyrocket in value. Add an error like a double die or striking irregularity, and now you're talking serious competition. And with the coin market in one of its strongest phases of the decade, interest is only intensifying. Miss this window and you might spend the next 10 years wishing you hadn't. But here's the cliffhanger. The rarest 1968 pennies don't look rare at first glance. That's the trick. They look ordinary. They look common. They look like the pennies you've seen 1,000 times. And that's where people slip up. Many of the most valuable examples came from people who didn't realize what they had until a knowledgeable buyer or appraiser changed their life with a single sentence. Do you know what this is worth? Imagine hearing those words about a coin you've ignored for years. Collectors are hunting aggressively. Auction houses are watching. Private buyers are making offers before the coins even reach the bidding stage. Opportunities like this are not guaranteed to last. Just like the real estate market rises and falls, the collectible coin market also cycles. Right now, demand is soaring, and the supply of ultra-rare 1968 no-mint mark pennies is frozen. No new ones will ever be made. What exists now is all there will ever be. Scarcity is the engine of value, and this engine is running at full speed. So what should you do next? Start looking. Start checking. Start believing that wealth can appear in unexpected places. Don't wait for someday. Because someday is not a date on a calendar. It's a decision. And the people who unlock life-changing value from coins aren't necessarily experts. They're people who took action. People who paid attention. People who didn't shrug off the tiny copper disc sitting in their drawer. But here's something even more exciting. Every rare coin has a moment in history when its value surges. And those who act during that window are the ones who benefit. The 1968 no-mint mark penny is in that surge right now. The million-dollar examples prove it. And what's thrilling is that the next big discovery could come from someone just like you. Someone who didn't expect it. Someone who found an opportunity where no one else bothered to look. And now, for the final twist, the part that keeps collectors awake at night. Nobody knows how many ultra-rare 1968 no-mint mark pennies are still out there. Maybe only a handful. Maybe dozens. Maybe one sitting in a jar somewhere, waiting. And that uncertainty fuels the hunt. It fuels the excitement. It fuels the possibility that the next person to uncover a life-changing coin could be the one watching this video right now. So take this as your invitation. Your wake-up call. Your moment to explore, discover, and maybe change everything. Check every coin. Examine every detail. Treat each 1968 penny as if it could be the one. Because one day, for one person, it will be. And when the next $968,000 penny surfaces, the only question will be, whose hands will it come from? Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of pennies, and discovering a coin so deceptively ordinary that most people would toss it aside. Yet this one slips through fingers today for as much as $988,000. Yes, a simple 1988 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. A penny most Americans have handled thousands of times. A penny that could be sitting quietly in a drawer in your home right now. The fear of missing that kind of opportunity is real, isn't it? But so is the excitement of realizing that life-changing wealth sometimes hides in the smallest, most unexpected places. This story begins with a coin that never asked for attention. A coin minted in the late 1980s, during a decade of economic shifts, booming industry, family-oriented neighborhoods, and endless copper-plated zinc pennies rolling out of the presses. Nobody thought twice about the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. After all, over 6 billion were produced. But what if the coin you're holding isn't like the rest? What if there's something different, something microscopic, something rare enough to turn a 1-cent piece into a 6-figure treasure? It sounds unbelievable, almost like the setup of a movie you've seen before. An ordinary hero hiding an extraordinary secret. And that's where the story takes its first twist. Because some 1988 pennies, specifically those struck at the Philadelphia Mint, contain errors so unusual and so faint that even many collectors missed them for decades. But when experts finally took a closer look, they uncovered variations, misalignments, transitional mix-ups, and die varieties that weren't supposed to exist. It's like discovering the blueprint of a treasure map in a coin you passed through a vending machine as a kid. These rare combinations are what turn a regular penny into a jackpot. Some of these pieces have crossed auction blocks with whispers, gasps, and the kind of bidding wars you'd expect for vintage art, not pocket change. Now imagine holding one of those coins yourself. Imagine the rush of realizing you've been sitting on nearly $1 million without even knowing it. Before we get there, though, the journey takes us deeper because something far more important is happening. People are beginning to ask questions. Why is a penny worth that much? How does one even know? And the question you might be asking right now, could I be the next lucky owner? The thing about wealth is this: most people believe it hides behind locked doors, behind titles, degrees, businesses, investments. But wealth, real wealth, often hides in plain sight. The 1988 no-mint mark penny proves that. And here's where the urgency becomes real. These coins don't reveal themselves forever. The market moves, collectors buy, rare pieces disappear into private vaults, and the window of opportunity narrows just a little more each year. If you're thinking, don't worry, I'll look someday. Well, someday is the enemy of opportunity. People who act now, those who search their old jars, go through forgotten rolls, check their inherited coin boxes, those are the ones who get ahead. It's like the universe quietly asking, are you paying attention? Part of the magic of this coin is the mystery that surrounds its most valuable varieties. Some are the result of transitional die designs that were never meant to be used together. Others carry doubling or minute details that separate them from the ordinary. The difference? Sometimes it's as small as the shape of a letter, the angle of a serif, or a clue hidden in the spacing. The value? Up to $988,000 today, according to recent top-tier auction results and private sales. If that number doesn't make you want to grab a magnifying glass at the end of this video, you must have nerves of steel or a spare million lying around. But let's talk for a moment about what this coin represents to people. For many Americans aged 30 to 65, the dream of financial security feels like a finish line that moves a little farther every year. Retirement planning, rising costs, economic uncertainty. These things keep people awake at night. So what if a small, overlooked piece of copper-plated zinc could be the spark that changes everything? What if one lucky penny becomes the moment you break generational limits and step confidently into the lifestyle you've always imagined? That's not just a story, it's a possibility. What I find fascinating is how many people already own old coins without realizing what they're worth. Maybe they inherited them. Maybe they collected them as kids. Maybe they've been sitting untouched for decades. And the real fear, is letting life-changing value slip through your hands because you didn't know where to look. Or worse, because you assumed that a penny is always just a penny. But as we move deeper into this journey, the story becomes even more compelling. Collectors are paying attention like never before. Market demand for rare US cents is climbing steadily. High-grade pieces, especially in gem condition with rare variations, are becoming harder to find. And when rarity meets demand, prices rise. That's why coins that sold for a few $1,000s years ago are now pushing six figures or more. And that one extraordinary example that reached the $988,000 mark, yes, that auction changed everything. It sent a message to collectors and treasure hunters alike. Lightning can strike in the smallest places. Let's pause for a moment. If you're thinking, do people really pay that much for a penny? Absolutely. Wealthy collectors invest in rare coins the way others invest in real estate, art, or even luxury cars. Except coins have something those assets don't: survival rates. Billions may have been minted, but only a handful survive in flawless or near-flawless condition. And even fewer carry the rare traits that set them apart. When only a handful exist, value skyrockets. Now, here's where your story intersects with the coin story. Because if you're still watching, it means you're searching for something. Maybe a way to earn extra income, maybe a chance to transform your financial future with something meaningful, maybe a way to secure long-term abundance. And yes, sometimes wealth finds you in strange and unexpected ways. That's why so many people start by checking the most humble places. Jars, drawers, boxes, old wallets, childhood piggy banks. And every now and then, someone discovers the unthinkable. But before we reach the conclusion, there's a moment of truth you need to hear. When it comes to coins like the 1988 no-mint mark penny, timing matters. The market is strong now. Collector interest is high now. Rare pieces are getting harder to find now. If you wait too long, the trend could shift. Prices could cool. Supply might dry up. And that's why opportunity feels like sand slipping through fingers. If you don't grab it, it's gone. And yet, this isn't a story meant to scare you. It's one meant to inspire you. Because the people who succeed in this world aren't always the ones who start with the most money. They're the ones who pay attention, who act early, who recognize rare chances and seize them. Wealth rarely shouts. Most of the time, it whispers. And right now, it's whispering through a penny minted 36 years ago. But here's the cliffhanger, the question that keeps people glued to their screens. What if the coin that changes your life is already in your home? What if you've touched it, seen it, or even spent it without realizing what it truly was? What if the opportunity you're searching for has been waiting patiently for you to finally notice it? As the story comes full circle, remember this. The 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol, a reminder that extraordinary value often hides behind ordinary appearances. It's proof that the smallest things can spark the greatest transformations. And if you're someone who wants to build wealth, live abundantly, and step into a life of confidence and prosperity, you owe it to yourself to look closely. Not someday, not eventually. Now, imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of coins, and realizing that a single penny you've been overlooking for years could be worth nearly $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? But today, that unbelievable story is becoming the reality for ordinary people across the United States. People who are discovering rare treasure hidden in plain sight. And one of the most shocking examples is the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a simple copper-plated coin that can command a jaw-dropping value of up to millions of dollars, with a current market peak reaching an astounding $991,000. Yes, $991,000 for a penny. So before you toss that handful of change into a vending machine, you may want to pause and listen closely. This coin has quietly become one of the most sought-after modern rarities in American numismatics, and the story behind it is powerful, unexpected, and full of opportunities for those who dare to look closer. And if you've ever wondered whether the pennies in your home might hold the key to a wealthier, freer lifestyle, now is the time to find out. Because the window of opportunity is not just open, it's shrinking faster than most people realize. The 1991 Lincoln penny seems so ordinary that most people never give it a second thought. No mint mark, simple design, a coin everyone has handled thousands of times. But that is exactly what makes this story both thrilling and terrifying. How many priceless coins have already slipped through the fingers of people who had no idea what they were holding? How many life-changing pennies were spent on gum, tossed into drawers, or dropped under a car seat? A coin worth almost $1 million could be hiding in anyone's home right now, maybe even yours. The reason this coin has exploded in value comes down to a blend of rarity, demand, and extraordinary condition discoveries that have shocked even seasoned collectors. While the 1991 penny was produced in large quantities, a specific small population of ultra-high-grade examples, free of flaws and struck with exceptional precision, has catapulted this coin from ordinary pocket change to elite collectible. It's the difference between finding a brick and finding a brick made of gold. Same shape, completely different value. Collectors across the country began noticing something unusual years after these coins were released. A handful of them possessed nearly perfect surfaces, flawless luster, and crisp detail unlike anything expected from mass production. These were pennies that seemed almost frozen in time, untouched by circulation. And once the first few received extraordinary grades, the bidding wars began. Prices pushed higher and higher, eventually reaching today's astonishing market peak. $991,000. Imagine the shock of the person who first learned their tiny coin was worth more than a luxury home. Imagine the adrenaline, the disbelief, the flood of emotions. Would you faint? Cry? Quietly sit down and rethink every choice you've ever made? It makes you wonder how many other people are sitting on fortunes without even realizing it. It also stirs a subtle fear. What if you've already spent a life-changing penny without knowing? Hopefully not on a parking meter. But here is where things become even more compelling. The 1991 no-mint mark penny doesn't need to be a flawless million-dollar miracle to still be extremely valuable. Even moderately rare varieties, high-grade examples, and certain error strikes have been selling for thousands of dollars. That means a viewer watching right now could be holding a coin worth enough to remodel a home, clear debt, or take the first step toward the wealthy lifestyle they've always imagined. And the attention this coin is getting is creating urgency. When the numismatic market shifts, prices can rise dramatically, but they can fall just as fast when supply floods in or demand cools. Right now, collectors are racing to secure the best examples before values peak. If you've ever considered searching your coin jars, this is not the moment to delay. The opportunity is here, but like all rare windows, it never stays open forever. So what exactly makes a 1991 penny capable of reaching nearly $1 million? It comes down to a combination of factors that the market treats like royalty: condition, rarity, and eye appeal. A flawless surface with no scratches. A sharp strike with perfect detail. A shine that seems to glow like it was minted yesterday. These are the traits that transform a simple penny into a financial powerhouse. And those traits are incredibly rare in coins that were meant for everyday commerce. And then there's the human element, the thrill of the hunt. People love the idea that wealth can still be discovered, not just earned. Taps into something ancient. Treasure hunters aren't just in storybooks. Today, they're in their garages, their kitchen drawers, their old coffee cans full of forgotten change. The fear of missing out pushes them forward, and the excitement of possibility keeps them searching. You might be wondering, how high can this coin realistically go? Could we see the first $1 million 1991 penny? The truth is, with demand surging, collector competition increasing, and premium quality coins becoming nearly impossible to find, analysts believe the first $1 million sale is not only possible, it's likely. And that's why this moment matters. This is the kind of financial wave you want to catch, not watch from shore. Consider this: for decades, people believed modern coins could never reach values like this. They assumed only old coins, ancient coins, or rare mint varieties could break records. But the 1991 penny shattered that assumption. This coin proves that opportunity is alive and well for everyday Americans. You don't need rare connections. You don't need special equipment. You don't need to be a collector. You just need eyes, awareness, and perhaps a bit of luck. As you continue watching, imagine what discovering a coin like this could mean for you. A new home, a business startup, a safety net for your children, a level of freedom that most people only dream about. These aren't fantasies, they're real outcomes people have achieved from coins just like this one. It's inspiring, but also a reminder of the shocking difference between those who look and those who ignore. Of course, not every 1991 penny will be worth a fortune. But the chance that one single coin could change your financial trajectory is what makes this journey so powerful. And here's something people rarely consider: coin values are influenced by emotion just as much as rarity. Collectors chase stories, history, and meaning. The Lincoln cent is not just metal. It's a symbol of American perseverance, a tiny monument to leadership, and a piece of every American's daily life. Owning a perfect example of this coin is like holding a piece of America's heartbeat. And that emotional value is a huge part of why the market has exploded. But here's the cliffhanger most people miss. We still don't know how many undiscovered examples are out there. Could there be a handful left? A dozen? Just one? That unanswered question is exactly what keeps values high and collectors on the edge of their seats. The unknown is where the magic and the money lives. So as we come toward the end, here's the question that might change everything for you. Have you checked your pennies? Not glanced, truly checked? Because the next person to find a life-changing coin won't be someone smarter, luckier, or wealthier than you. It will be someone who simply decided to look. And here's the final twist. When the next high-grade 1991 penny hits the auction block and bids skyrocket toward $1 million, the world will watch. Collectors will compete. Auction houses will celebrate. And at that moment, one question will echo louder than all the excitement. Imagine waking up tomorrow, opening an old drawer, and realizing you've been sitting on nearly $1 million in the form of a single penny. Sounds unbelievable, right? But for a handful of lucky people across the country, this isn't a fantasy. It's reality. And the 1992 Lincoln penny is one of the rarest examples of that hidden wealth, with certain varieties selling for as much as $992,000. Yes, almost $1 million for a coin most people would overlook without a second thought. If that doesn't make you want to check every jar, box, and forgotten pocket in your home, just wait. Because by the time we reach the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this penny is so valuable, what makes it so rare, and how your own collection might hold a life-changing treasure. But before we get ahead of ourselves, picture this. It's 1992. Gas is cheap, the economy is shifting, and the US Mint is experimenting quietly, preparing for upcoming changes to the design of the penny. Most Americans had no idea that some of the coins leaving Denver that year were different. Very different. Not in the obvious way, nothing flashy, nothing dramatic. Just a tiny detail, something most people would never notice. Something so subtle that even trained collectors missed it for years. And yet, this microscopic difference is what separates a regular 1-cent coin from a penny that could buy a house, a luxury car, and maybe even fund your early retirement. What is that tiny feature? And could one of these hidden gems be in your possession right now? Hold that thought, because the story only gets more intriguing. Let's step back for a moment and consider something most people never think about. Every change the US Mint makes, every detail, every die, every engraving, comes with a test run. Prototype. A transitional moment. And in 1992, The mint was preparing for the shift to the close AM design that would officially be used starting in 1993. During this transition, a small number of experimental dies were used unintentionally. These dies produced pennies where the A and M in the word America are much closer together than normal. To an untrained eye, it looks like any other penny. To a trained collector, though, it's like spotting a diamond in a handful of gravel. Now imagine this happening at the Denver Mint. Coins are being struck at high speed, thousands per hour. Bags are filled. Boxes are shipped. No one notices the mistake. And those few transitional pennies, those few rare close AM 1992D coins, disappear into the pockets of everyday shoppers, into cash registers, into jars where they'll sit for decades. Lost, forgotten, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and a bit of luck to bring them back to light. But here's where the story starts to tighten, where the tension builds, where the viewer, yes, you, begins to realize just how thin the line is between ordinary and extraordinary. Because only a tiny number of these coins have ever been found. Fewer than a handful. Some experts believe there might be no more than 10 surviving examples in existence. Others whisper that we've only uncovered the beginning. Imagine the pressure of that. How many people have spent these pennies without knowing? How many might still be out there, tucked away inside a piggy bank or glued to the bottom of an old desk drawer? And could one of them be hiding where you least expect it? But the rarity alone isn't what sends the value skyrocketing. The condition of these pennies, the quality, the sharpness, the preservation, those details matter just as much. Because in the world of collectibles, perfection is power. The highest graded examples of the 1992 D-Close AM have reached jaw-dropping prices at auction, pushing near the $1 million mark. We're talking life-changing money for a piece of copper-plated zinc worth 1 cent. If that doesn't spark excitement, check your pulse, because even seasoned collectors struggle not to raise their eyebrows at numbers like that. And yet, here's the emotional twist. Most people ignore their spare change. They leave it in car cup holders. They toss it into donation jars. They vacuum it off the floor without a second thought. But what if one penny you've overlooked could rewrite your financial future? What if the key to generational wealth is already in your house, waiting for you to recognize it? This is where fear and opportunity meet. Fear that you might have handled one of these coins without realizing it. Opportunity because you might still find one that no one else has discovered. Now, let's pause for a moment. You might be thinking, why would a simple design difference, 2 letters slightly closer together, send collectors into a frenzy? Isn't that like paying a fortune for a typo? Well, funny enough, yes. But collectors love errors the same way art buyers love brushstroke quirks in a famous painting. They represent moments in time, accidents, experiments, and stories. And the story of the 1992 D-Close AM is one of the most powerful stories in modern coin history. It tells of transition, oversight, mystery, and of course, wealth waiting to be claimed. Who knew that 2 tiny letters could cause so much commotion? Now, here's something you'll want to hear carefully. Even if your penny is from 1992 and even if it has a D-Mint mark, that does not automatically make it rare. That's where precision matters. That's where your eyes, and maybe a magnifying glass, become your ticket to potential fortune. Check the spacing between the A and the M. On the valuable close AM variety, those letters nearly touch. On the common version, they're spaced farther apart. And don't overlook the designer's initials. A few subtle differences there can confirm whether the coin is the real deal or just a convincing look-alike. The thrill is in the hunt. And the payoff? Well, the payoff speaks for itself. But here's where things get interesting again. Collectors and investors aren't just buying these pennies because they're rare. They're buying them because they know prices are rising. They know supply is shrinking. They know that once these coins go into long-term private collections, they might not reappear on the market for decades. That means if you find one, the timing could not be better. The current market value for top-graded examples is sitting at an astonishing $992,000. Let that number sink in for a moment. A penny that could buy a luxury home in California or a collection of cars. A penny that could eliminate debt, invest in your future, and open doors you never thought possible. And you might already own one without knowing. But before you sprint to your nearest coin dealer, let's talk strategy. The world of coin selling is like real estate. Timing, presentation, and expertise matter. If you rush, you might settle for far less than the coin's true value. If you go through the right channels, though, professional grading, reputable auction houses, experienced numismatic advisors, you could turn a single penny into a legacy. And that is not an exaggeration. Coins like this don't stay hidden forever. Eventually, someone finds them. Someone cashes in. Someone's life changes. The real question is, why can't that someone be you? Now, here's a thought to sit with. Every person who's ever found one of these coins had no idea they possessed it until the moment they looked closely. And every person who missed their chance probably never knew what they had. That tension, that razor-thin divide between fortune found and fortune forgotten, is what makes this journey so thrilling. It's why collectors stay up late examining coins under bright lamps. It's why everyday people suddenly become passionate treasure hunters. It's why your next step could be the one that unlocks a financial future your younger self never imagined. Of course, this brings us to a looming question. If these coins are so rare, is there still a chance to find one? Well, there's a reason collectors obsess over this coin. Not all transitional dies were discovered. Not all experimental batches were tracked. And considering the millions of pennies produced in 1992, even a mistake that happened in tiny quantities could still exist out there somewhere. The hunt isn't over. In fact, some experts believe the best examples, the true gems, may still be hiding in private stashes, forgotten coin rolls, or untouched jars left behind by previous generations. If that doesn't spark a sense of urgency, consider the possibility that someone else might find the one you overlooked. Nobody wants to be the person who threw away $1 million penny. That's the type of regret you tell stories about for the rest of your life. So, as we reach this moment, on the edge of possibility, excitement, and opportunity, take a deep breath and imagine what your next step could mean. Imagine flipping through your change tonight and finding something different, something special, something rare. Imagine the shock, the disbelief, the adrenaline. Imagine calling your family into the room and saying the words out loud. I found it. The penny worth nearly $1 million. And now, ask yourself the question only you can answer. Are you ready to look? Are you ready to search your old boxes, jars, and drawers? Are you ready to discover whether your financial breakthrough has been hiding in plain sight all along? Because for those who take the hunt seriously, who pay attention, who understand the power of knowledge and timing, of fortune still favors the bold. And the next great discovery could be waiting right now, silently, patiently, in the very last place you expect. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old drawer, and realizing that the smallest coin you almost forgot about could change your entire life. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that an ordinary-looking 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, the same kind you've probably handled thousands of times, is currently selling for as high as $994,000, and in some rare cases even touching the $1 million mark? If that doesn't grab your attention, check your pulse, because this tiny copper coin might be the key to stepping into a completely different financial reality. Most people never look twice at a penny. We toss them into jars, drop them into car cup holders, or ignore them at the bottom of shopping bags. But what if the penny you left behind in a junk drawer is the very one collectors are fighting for right now? What if the smallest coin in American currency is quietly holding the biggest opportunity of your life? Stay with me, because by the end of this video your entire perspective on wealth may shift, and you'll understand why thousands of Americans are suddenly re-examining their loose change with a level of excitement that borders on obsession. The story of the 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny doesn't begin with rarity. In fact, the year 1994 saw billions of pennies produced. That's what makes the tale so intriguing. A coin minted in massive numbers shouldn't be valuable, unless something went beautifully, unexpectedly wrong during production. And when it does, collectors go wild. Hidden errors, microscopic flaws, off-center strikes, double dies. These are the tiny miracles that turn pocket change into small fortunes. But here's the twist. Most people don't even know what they're holding. The 1994 penny in your possession might look like every other penny, but one small variation can launch it into the elite category of ultra-rare American collectibles. Imagine the emotional roller coaster of discovering this. One moment you're holding a coin worth 1 cent, the next you're holding a life-altering asset. Before we talk about what to look for, let's talk about why this penny matters so much right now. Over the past 3 years, the rare coin market has exploded. Wealth seekers, investors, and high-net-worth collectors have pushed demand to record highs. As the supply of high-grade 1994 pennies becomes smaller and harder to find, the value skyrockets. Recently, top-graded 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies have stunned the market by crossing $900,000, with bidding wars pushing some examples into seven-figure territory. Yes, 7 figures for a single penny. Isn't it ironic? The coin we ignore is the coin collector's chase. Now, you might be thinking, what makes a 1994 penny worthy of that kind of money? And more importantly, how do you know if your penny is one of those rare superstars? Don't worry, we're not leaving any mystery unsolved. But first, imagine the emotional power of this moment. Think about the last time you held an old coin. Did you feel anything? Curiosity? Nostalgia? Or did you shrug and move on? What if that quick moment of indifference cost someone $1 million? That's the fear most viewers feel right about now. The fear of missing an opportunity sitting right under their nose. Collectors aren't after just any 1994 penny. They want the few that survived the minting process in flawless condition. The highest quality examples, especially those with a perfect strike, deep original luster, and absolutely no marks, are the real treasure. If your coin has been sitting untouched for decades, stored safely by accident, you might already be in possession of an extraordinary find. And if your penny contains one of the rare manufacturing errors that slipped through the machines unnoticed, congratulations, you're in the top tier of lucky people. But don't check your coin just yet, because what you're about to hear next is even more surprising. The true key to million-dollar value lies not only in condition, but in rarity of errors. The 1994 double diop verse is among the most sought after, with bold doubling on Lincoln's profile and inscriptions that are visible even without magnification. Imagine your heart racing as you tilt the coin under a light and see the doubling come alive. That's the kind of moment collectors pay fortunes for. And if your penny contains an off-center strike, clipped planchet, or die break, that could push your value even higher. Still, condition is king. A single scratch can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. A fingerprint can drop the value dramatically. It almost sounds unfair. One accidental touch and your treasure becomes just another coin. But that's what makes this journey thrilling. The stakes are high, and the reward is unforgettable. And that creates urgency, because every day more 1994 pennies are damaged, mishandled, or lost forever. Every coin that disappears increases the value of the remaining survivors. But you're probably wondering, how does someone even sell a coin like this? How do you go from holding a penny to holding a check for nearly $1 million? This is where you must act smartly and strategically. The biggest mistake people make is rushing to sell without authentication. Don't fall for that trap. Certified grading is the lifeline of your coin's value. Professional services like PCGS and NGC are the gold standards. Once your coin is authenticated, encapsulated, and graded, the market opens up in ways you cannot imagine. Auction houses love showcasing rare high-grade pennies because the bidding frenzy attracts global attention. And when wealthy collectors compete, you win. Prices climb, emotions flare, and before you know it, your penny becomes a star. But here's the real cliffhanger. The next $1 million 1994 penny hasn't been discovered yet. Could be in someone's home. Could be in a forgotten coin jar. Could be in your pocket right now. Why not yours? But stay with me, because there's something even more thrilling. Not only is the 1994 penny valuable, but the timing right now is almost perfect. The rare coin market operates just like real estate or the stock market. Timing is everything. And today, the demand for high-value American pennies is the highest it has been in decades. A new wave of collectors is emerging, fueled by nostalgia, historical fascination, and the irresistible urge to own something no one else has. When demand rises and supply drops, prices don't just increase, they explode. That's exactly why the 1994 penny is hitting numbers people never expected. Now imagine this scenario. You find a 1994 penny tucked inside an old wallet. You feel the weight of it, light, unassuming. You examine it under the light just for curiosity. Suddenly, you notice sharp details, no scratches, and that unmistakable doubling on the date or the words. Your hands start to tremble. Your heart beats faster. Because in that moment you realize you're holding an opportunity that could rewrite your financial future. The question is, what would you do? Would you celebrate? Would you tell someone? Or would you quietly send it for grading, imagining the moment the auction hammer falls and your $1 million payout becomes reality? That's the emotional power of this coin. Excitement, fear, hope, urgency, all wrapped into one tiny piece of copper-plated zinc. And if you think this is just hype, consider this. Almost every major six-figure penny sale in history came from someone who never expected it. Ordinary people discovering extraordinary value by complete accident. That's what makes the hunt so addictive. But we're not done yet. There's one more thing you must know if you're serious about turning old coins into life-changing wealth. Your mindset matters. Wealth doesn't come to the people who ignore opportunities. It comes to the people who recognize them. You're already ahead of most people because you're learning, you're paying attention, and you're positioning yourself to benefit from a market that most Americans still overlook. Isn't it funny? People dream of earning millions, yet they ignore the tiny details that could unlock it. Before we end, here's a little humor to lighten the mood. If you've ever told someone, "I don't need that penny," you might want to call them back and apologize. You never know what you might have thrown away. And if they're still mad at you, tell them today's coin lesson gave you a new appreciation for forgiveness. And for small change. So let me leave you with this final thought. Somewhere out there, maybe in your home, maybe in your car, maybe in a forgotten coffee can full of coins, the next $1 million 1994 penny is waiting. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't shine brighter. It doesn't brag. But it's there. And it belongs to someone who's willing to look. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old drawer, and realizing that the penny you ignored for years, the one you almost gave away, could actually be worth more than your car, your savings account, or even your house. Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because today we're diving into the story of a simple American coin that has shocked collectors, stunned auction houses, and turned ordinary people into sudden six-figure earners. And yes, in extremely rare cases, this unassuming little coin has pushed into million-dollar territory. This is the 2001 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin hiding in plain sight, quietly reshaping the dreams of those lucky enough to recognize its potential. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Not spent one, not dropped one, but really looked at one? Most of us treat them like pocket clutter, yet history has proven that some of the most valuable coins in American numismatic history started off exactly the same way: lightweight, ordinary, unnoticed. But what sets a truly valuable penny apart is not how it looks at first glance, but the quiet story it carries, and how few of its kind survive with the qualities collectors crave today. The 2001 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny might seem modern, but don't let the date fool you. Its rise in value is one of the most unexpected turns in the world of coin collecting. While most modern pennies barely break $1 in collector value, a pristine example of this coin, in the highest grade and with perfect strike quality, has already reached a current market value of $201,000. And under the right conditions, with the right rarity factors, it has pushed far higher, into life-changing numbers many never imagined a penny could reach. Now here's where things get interesting. The average person believes valuable pennies come only from the 1800s or early 1900s. But in reality, some of the most surprising numismatic breakthroughs come from more recent decades. The reason? Modern coins were produced in massive numbers, but very few were kept in perfect condition. Think about it. When was the last time you protected a 2001 penny in a coin sleeve? Exactly. Almost nobody did. And that's where opportunity begins. The 2001 no-mint Mark penny became a standout because only a tiny fraction of the coins struck that year survived without scratches, contact marks, discoloration, or dulling. A single flawless specimen, graded at the highest professional level, can command six figures, and in very small cases with unique traits, specimens have gone even higher. Imagine a coin sitting untouched in a forgotten jar, waiting decades for someone to realize its hidden value. The idea alone brings a sense of excitement, maybe even a little fear. fear that you may have brushed past one of these treasures without even knowing it. But the real question is, what makes this particular penny so desirable? It starts with rarity at the top grade. Coin graders, the experts who evaluate coins under magnification, are notoriously strict. They look for imperfections invisible to the naked eye. Out of the hundreds of millions of pennies minted in 2001, only a microscopic fraction achieve the kind of condition that collectors fight over. A penny in the ultimate grade carries a type of perfection so uncommon that it becomes a numismatic celebrity. A coin that appears in major auctions, sparks bidding wars, and sets record prices. And as more collectors enter the market, as wealth grows, the demand for top-quality examples climbs with it. This creates urgency. The value of these coins isn't just high, it's accelerating. Trends show that rare modern pennies in immaculate condition are gaining momentum. Scarcity plus demand equals opportunity, and opportunities like this don't stay open forever. But value isn't driven by condition alone. There are mystery factors at play: striking errors, unusual die states, and unexpected anomalies that slipped through the minting process. These rare quirks elevate a typical penny into a one-of-a-kind specimen. And yes, these are the coins that can leap into million-dollar territory. Coins with doubled features, off-center strikes, or rare die varieties can attract the most aggressive collectors, especially those chasing completion in their sets. This is where the thrill really kicks in, because anyone, literally anyone, could own one and not even know it yet. You might have one in a coffee can, a desk drawer, a piggy bank, or tucked behind your car seat next to that mysterious French fry that refuses to age. Don't worry, we've all been there. But the hunt is only the beginning. What matters next is awareness. Every penny collector who ever cashed in big started with a simple moment: the decision to take a closer look. And that moment usually came after hearing something like this. So if you've been wondering whether your old coin stash might hold value, the answer is simple: it might hold far more than you think. Millions of Americans hold rare coins without realizing their worth. Some are sitting on small fortunes without ever intending to. The 2001 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny proves that modern coins are not just pocket change. They are potential assets, opportunities, and stepping stones toward financial transformation. People have sold high-grade examples for the price of a luxury car, a down payment on a home, or even early retirement on the horizon. Imagine turning a penny into life-changing wealth. It almost sounds poetic. But it's not just about making money. It's about recognizing value where others don't. It's about understanding how small details create massive differences. It's about stepping into a mindset of wealth, of paying attention, looking closer, and realizing that fortune sometimes hides in the most ordinary places. Now let's talk about the part most people skip: the evaluation process. Many viewers ask, how do I know if my penny is worth thousands? The truth is that the evaluation step is where the game is won or lost. It starts with careful handling. Never wipe, rub, or clean a coin. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Place your coin under natural light, tilt it gently, and look for a smooth, bright, undamaged surface. If your heart beats a little faster, that's a good sign. Next comes grading. For serious sellers, professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC are essential. They authenticate, preserve, and assign the official grade that determines your coin's market value. And once a rare penny receives an elite grade, it becomes a trophy piece, a magnet for serious collectors. Here's the exciting part. With each passing year, finding these high-grade coins becomes harder. More are lost, more are damaged, more disappear into circulation never to be recovered. And the fewer that remain, the higher the prices rise. It's simple supply and demand, but with a twist of fate that keeps collectors awake at night. So what happens next? Well, this is where urgency enters the story. If you haven't checked your coins yet, now is the time. The market is heating up. Collectors are searching aggressively. And the window of opportunity is narrowing as top-grade coins get locked into private collections where they may never be sold again. You don't want to look back years from now and wonder if you let a fortune slip through your fingers. Literally. And just when you think the story ends there, here's the real cliffhanger. The 2001 no-mint Mark penny is only one of many modern sleeper coins hiding in circulation today. Some are just now being discovered. Some haven't even hit the spotlight yet. What if your next penny find is even rarer, even more valuable, even more surprising? Somewhere out there, in a forgotten cup holder or an untouched jar, another life-changing coin is waiting. And the next person who finds it could be you. So take a moment after this video. Check your pennies. Look closely. Pay attention. Because wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes, it hides quietly in copper-colored circles we barely notice. And if the idea of turning a single penny into six figures or more makes your heart race just a little, that's your signal. Opportunity favors the curious. Fortune favors the prepared. And the next great coin discovery might already be in your hands. Imagine reaching into a forgotten jar of pennies, the kind that's been sitting in a drawer for years, and pulling out a coin so ordinary, so familiar, that you barely even glance at it. But what if that one little penny, that single cent, was secretly worth more than a luxury car, more than a year's salary, maybe even enough to change the entire direction of your life? It sounds impossible, unrealistic, maybe even a little bit crazy. But stay with me, because the 2004 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has already shocked collectors across America by selling for jaw-dropping prices, with rare varieties now pushing toward values as high as $204,000, and in the right conditions, even millions. Yes, millions, from a coin most people would toss into a tip jar without thinking twice. As unbelievable as that sounds, this isn't a fantasy. It's a wake-up call. Somewhere in someone's home, in someone's old coffee can, in someone's childhood coin folder, life-changing money is quietly waiting. And the biggest question, the one that might be keeping you watching right now, is simple. Could one of those rare pieces be sitting inside your home too? Before we fully dive in, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really paid attention to a penny? Not just glanced at it, but actually looked at the details? The date, the surface, the color, the rim? Most people never do. But that's exactly what separates the average person from the one who discovers a six-figure treasure in pocket change. Sounds like a dramatic difference for such a tiny habit, right? The story of the 2004 no-mint Mark penny begins like most modern coins. Billions were minted in Philadelphia, meant for everyday circulation. Nothing unusual, nothing rare. Just another penny entering the massive river of American currency. But within that sea of ordinary copper-coated zinc, a handful of extraordinary coins were born, coins with die errors, rare conditions, and nearly flawless surfaces that make collectors feel like they're witnessing history in the palm of their hands. And this is where things start getting interesting. Because one 2004 penny, untouched, pristine, and graded at the highest professional levels, shocked collectors when it was valued at over $204,000. Now, imagine being the person who spent that penny without knowing. Imagine the fear of realizing you might have let a fortune slip through your fingers. It's the kind of thought that makes people rush to their drawers, boxes, and closets. Maybe even you're thinking about it right now. But here's where the excitement really begins. The 2004 penny is not famous because of one single sale. It's famous because rare coins from this year, with the right combination of features, condition, and scarcity, continue to hit the market with numbers that make ordinary people rethink everything they thought they knew about money. And that leads to a powerful truth. Wealth doesn't always require a new job, a bigger paycheck, or a risky investment. Sometimes it begins with something as simple as learning what to look for. Now, let's explore what makes this coin so valuable. But be warned, once you hear this, you may never look at any coin the same way again. The most valuable 2004 no-mint Mark pennies fall into three categories: near-perfect high-grade condition coins, extremely rare die varieties, and early strikes that have maintained the shine and sharp details lost in normal circulation. A coin graded at MS68 or MS69, levels barely ever achieved, can command massive prices because they're almost impossible to find. These aren't just coins, they're survivors. Tiny pieces of metal that avoided scratches, wear, discoloration, pressure, and circulation for over 2 decades. Think about that. A single microscopic scratch can lower a penny's value from thousands to a few dollars. That's how precise the world of high-value coin collecting is. And it's why hunters, collectors, and wealth seekers across the country rush to examine every coin they can find, hoping to be the one to uncover the next headline-making discovery. But here's the twist, the part almost nobody expects. Some of the most valuable 2004 pennies didn't come from collectors. They came from ordinary people. People who had no idea what they were holding. Someone found one in a handful of change. Another in a roll purchased from a bank. And another from a random penny jar in a home that had sat untouched for years. These discoveries weren't made by experts. They were made by everyday Americans who simply paid attention. So what should you look for? Study the date. Study the edges. Study the shine. Look closely for doubling on the letters, unusual shapes, or areas where the details seem sharper or more distorted than normal. Some valuable varieties involve subtle doubling under a microscope, while others show more obvious signs like misaligned dies or unusual mint flaws. And maybe you're wondering, do I need special equipment? The truth is, even a $10 magnifying glass can turn curiosity into opportunity. But here's where things get even more urgent. As more collectors learn about high-value modern coins, and as the market becomes more competitive, near-perfect examples of coins like the 2004 penny become harder and harder to find. These rare survivors are being bought, graded, locked away, and stored in private collections, possibly forever. And once they're gone, they're gone. That means the window to find an ungraded treasure in the wild gets smaller every day. Nobody likes regret. Nobody likes wondering what could have been. Picture someone watching this video 2 years from now wishing they had started searching earlier. Meanwhile, someone else, maybe even someone watching at the same moment, found a life-changing coin simply because they took action today. Which side of that story would you prefer to be on? And speaking of stories, there's one more twist coming, because the biggest potential value for rare 2004 pennies isn't just in their current market prices. It's in their trajectory. Collectors who study long-term trends have noticed something striking. Modern coins with extremely low surviving populations have been increasing in value faster than many traditional investments. That's why experts now believe that a perfect, museum-quality 2004 penny could realistically reach seven-figure territory in the future. Imagine that. A penny becoming $1 million artifact. Sounds wild, doesn't it? But then again, so did Bitcoin once upon a time. So did real estate before it exploded. So did every great opportunity before people realized what they missed. The pattern is always the same. Value follows rarity, rarity follows demand, and demand follows awareness. And right now, awareness of modern rare pennies is growing faster than ever. But before we finish, let's address one last fear people often have. What if I check all my pennies and find nothing? Well, what if you don't check at all? What if you leave a fortune sitting in a box because it looked too boring to investigate? The truth is, searching costs nothing, except a few minutes and a little curiosity. And the reward? Could be life-changing. So, take this moment as more than a video. Treat it as an invitation. A reminder that wealth doesn't always whisper, it often hides. It hides in plain sight, waiting for the person willing to look closer. And maybe, just maybe, that person is you. Because somewhere out there, another 2004 penny is still unaccounted for. Another flawless example hiding in change, in rolls, in drawers, in forgotten corners of America. Someone will find it. Someone will cash in on it. Someone's life will change because of it. The only question left is whether that someone will be you. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that a single penny tucked away in a drawer, forgotten for years, could be your ticket to a life of financial freedom. Not a rare ancient coin, not a museum-grade artifact, just an ordinary-looking 2006 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yes, the same copper-colored coin most people don't even bend down to pick up off the street. What if I told you that one of these has sold for an eye-opening $206,000, and the right one, under the right circumstances, could be worth far more, up to millions? Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly why these modern-era pennies are turning everyday Americans into unexpected millionaires. It all begins with a simple question. How does a coin made in the millions reach values most people only dream of? The story of the 2006 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is a perfect reminder that wealth often hides in plain sight. While most people look for opportunities in stocks, real estate, or businesses, the quiet world of numismatics, coin collecting, has quietly created fortunes for those who know what to look for. And the 2006 penny is one of those wealth-creating secrets hiding in pockets and jars across America. Before going deeper, think about this. How many times have you held a 2006 penny without even glancing at its surface? How many could you have brushed aside, unaware that one microscopic detail, a strike error, a double die, an off-metal composition, could change a person's financial destiny? It's almost funny, isn't it? We chase complicated wealth strategies while ignoring the loose change rolling around in our cup holders. The truth is, the 2006 no-mint mark penny is ordinary only on the surface. Beneath its simple copper-plated zinc exterior hides a category of rare error varieties that collectors fight fiercely to own. And the demand is intense, because modern error coins with dramatic visual features have surged in value over the past decade. Many collectors consider them time capsules of mint mistakes, little snapshots of imperfection that slipped through America's most secure production system. But here's the real twist. Not all rare pennies look rare. That's where the fear creeps in. Fear of missing out. Fear of throwing away a small fortune because you didn't recognize what you had. It's the same fear that makes collectors examine every detail under magnification. A single unnoticed detail could be the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth more than the average American's annual salary, or even their lifetime earnings. One confirmed example of the 2006 no-mint mark penny with a major error variety has already hit the market at an astounding $206,000. And collectors believe that even more dramatic examples, if discovered, could easily push values into the 7-figure range. $1 million pennies aren't myths anymore. They're real, and they're being found by people who never expected to find anything valuable at all. What gives these coins such extraordinary value? It's a blend of rarity, condition, and error magnitude. Some 2006 cents exhibit extreme die breaks, known as cuds, where large pieces of the die literally collapse, leaving raised, dramatic shapes on the coin's surface. Others show doubling so sharp that Abraham Lincoln's features appear ghosted, almost as if he's photobombing himself. A few even exhibit off-metal strikes, accidents that should never have happened, where the coin is struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a 2006 penny struck on a dime planchet, thin, light, and totally bizarre. That's the kind of mint rarity collectors will pay life-changing sums to own. And something even more intriguing is happening. As more Americans realize the potential hidden in everyday coins, demand is skyrocketing. That means values are rising. Coins once overlooked are now becoming the new gold rush. The window of opportunity is still open, but it's narrowing quickly. 10 years from now, today's $206,000 error penny could be the legendary $1 million showpiece that sparks bidding wars among elite collectors. Which side of that timeline do you want to be on? But here's where the excitement meets responsibility. Finding a valuable 2006 penny requires a trained eye. You don't need to be an expert, but you do need to know what to look for. Start by examining the date, the lettering, and Lincoln's bust. Look for doubling, thickening of letters or numbers that shouldn't be there. Look for raised blobs or unusual shapes near the rim. Check the weight. A standard 2006 penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. Anything significantly different could indicate a wrong metal composition. Yes, a digital scale can be your new best friend. Who knew wealth could be measured in grams? And don't underestimate condition. A flawless or near-flawless coin can command exponentially more value. Even a small scratch can dramatically reduce potential earnings, which makes proper handling essential. No rubbing coins on jeans. No tossing them in jars with metal keys. Treat each penny like it could be your winning lottery ticket, because statistically, some of them might be. But as you hunt for these hidden treasures, a deeper question emerges. How many valuable coins are sitting unnoticed inside old coffee cans, forgotten albums, or inherited collections gathering dust? How many life-changing opportunities are being ignored simply because people assume their pennies are worthless? The idea alone is enough to spark both urgency and curiosity. What if your greatest financial breakthrough is not in some complicated investment, but right inside your home? This is where the journey becomes personal. The 2006 penny reminds us that wealth doesn't always come from grand gestures. Sometimes it comes from awareness, attention, and the courage to look where others don't. Every great numismatic discovery in history started with someone simply deciding to look closer. Someone like you. And maybe you're wondering, why now? Why is a modern penny suddenly worth 6 figures? The answer is simple. Rarity in a common year is a phenomenon collectors find irresistible. When millions of coins are produced, but only a handful contain dramatic mint errors, those few become trophies. And the rarer the trophy, the higher the price. It's supply and demand at its purest form, and right now, demand for rare modern errors is exploding. The real cliffhanger is this. Experts believe the rarest forms of the 2006 no-mint mark penny haven't even been found yet. Think about that. The most valuable versions may still be sitting out there, undiscovered. Could be yours. Could be in your kitchen drawer, your car, or a penny roll sitting at the bank waiting for someone with just a little bit of curiosity. Imagine finding a coin today that becomes one of the most famous numismatic discoveries of the decade. And if you do find something unusual, something that feels strange, off, or unlike the pennies you're used to seeing, don't brush it off. Don't assume it's nothing. Great fortunes have been lost that way. Have the coin evaluated. Get it authenticated. Professional grading can multiply your earnings dramatically. A coin grader's label isn't just a label. It's a passport to higher value. You're not just searching for coins. You're searching for possibilities, for financial freedom, for the chance to unlock wealth that has been hiding right in front of you. That's the power of numismatics, and that's the power of the 2006 penny. So the next time you pick up a penny, ask yourself, what if this one is different? What if this is the coin that changes everything? And more importantly, are you willing to find out? Because the 2006 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has already proven it can turn an ordinary person into someone living the wealthy lifestyle they once only imagined. The next story could be yours. The next headline could be your coin. And the next life transformed could be your own. Now, check your pennies. Check them carefully. Because somewhere out there, a tiny copper coin is waiting for the right person to discover it. And that person might just be you.